So, put your flippers together for the next amazing comedian, Diane Skoll. Thank you, Lloyd. I didn't realize I was your muse. So I have a quiz. What's the difference between Maine and Alabama? Alabama has a Democratic senator. Roy Moore won't concede. He made this video where he was kind of rambling and he was talking about how America was beset by evils such as abortion, sodomy, and materialism. But he didn't really think it through, you know? A little more sodomy, we wouldn't need so much abortion. This is a friendly venue. I'm also not sure that Trump is on board with the whole materialism is evil thing either, huh? And in his video, Roy Moore was saying how he associates with good people. He says, yeah, where I live, my neighbor's a good, upstanding Christian. And his two kids, they ain't like the bad kids in the city in New York. These are fine, chaste, upstanding young women. And they're cute as a button, let me tell you. I mean, they're real cute. But it's okay. I'm okay with God, because it ain't my neighbor's wife that I covet. He has a friend, Pastor Kevin Swanson, I think his name is, who says that gays should be stoned to death. He says gays should get stoned to death. That's not going to happen on Roy Moore's watch, because he opposes legalization of pot. So just to explain Roy's column A, column B a little bit, for those of you who don't know, I'm transgender, so I'm on his shit list, I guess. So I'm seeing a guy, which I guess to me makes me straight, but he thinks I'm a guy, so to him I'm gay. Which is really confusing. So for my Facebook should I be stoned status, I just put, it's complicated. As I mentioned, I'm transgender. For the first 48 years of my life, everybody assumed I was a guy, and I just kind of went along with it. I was born, the doctor said it's a boy, and like my improv instincts kicked in, and like, yes, and I even studied a really stereotypical male profession. I studied electrical engineering. Did you know engineers are slightly more likely than the average person to be transgender? Because it's true. And we're also way more likely to be terrorists. So if you know anybody going into engineering, just push into the transgender stream, it's better. My degree is EE, my cup size is AA. So what you see here is 80% big pharma and 20% structural engineering. Had to get that off my chest. Because I don't like putting up a false front. When I came out to my mother, she was very concerned. You know, I'm a parent, I have kids. I understand how parents are concerned about their kids. And she had some weird questions. One time I was putting a ceiling fan up for her, and she said to me, so, when you're a girl, are you still going to be able to do that? So I said, of course, the lobotomy is optional. But she was worried about my safety, she really was. And she was constantly fretting, so I picked the most ridiculous thing I could think. I said, this is Ottawa, it's not like the jungle. Like, do you think a bunch of cannibals are going to set upon me or something? And my mother, being dramatic, says, well, it could happen. So I said, no problem. They're not going to eat hormone-infused meat. Or trans fats. I'm not really an activist. I identify as T in the LGBTQ and all, well, the whole alphabet, basically, by this point. Yeah. I'm not really activist, but I used to be. I started a political party to advance our cause. It was called the Tea Party. But most of our constituents were confused right-wingers. And anyway, it didn't work because all our members crossed the floor to the other side. Sometimes I like to read the right-wing outlets like Breitbart and Daily Caller. You know, it makes me feel better. Because when you read the mainstream or liberal media, it's like, oh, transgender people are subject to violence, and, you know, they're being picked on by politicians, and they can't go to the bathroom, and, you know, they don't even want us in the military. It's like, who the fuck wants you in the military? We get enough violence on our own. But if you read Breitbart, my God, we control the schools, you know? We control the government. We're forcing people to speak in certain ways. It, like, really makes me feel happy. And some of them say that we're destroying civilization. Like, that's power, you know? Kim Jong-un doesn't need nukes. He can just put on a dress. In fact, right after this show, I'm going to go home and destroy me a civilization. In addition to reading Breitbart, I sometimes read like normal stuff like The Atlantic. And they had a story called The Curious Case of Jesus' Wife. It's like, oh, I gotta read this. It was fascinating. Did you know that Jesus' wife did not like her father-in-law? I always wait 2 seconds for that. The feeling was mutual, you know? God would pull Jesus aside, he'd say, listen, son, I'm Jewish, so I know how God speaks. Oh, I'm Jewish too, so I really control the press. Listen, son, I'm glad you found a Jewish girl. But her? You had to pick her? Can't you let me make you another one? It'll take 2 minutes. But Jesus loved his wife, he really did. He had only one gripe. He said to her, darling, when we make love, do you have to yell out Dad's name? When they were first married, she didn't know much about sex. She was naive, you know, it was one of the prerequisites to marry Jesus. And she desperately needed advice about sex from an older woman. But Jesus' mom was no use. She had a couple of nieces who, after she married Jesus, they would tease her by calling her Antichrist. And from there we'll move on. Let me close. Let me close with an apology. Not for religion bashing, but for being an engineer. We are responsible for USB plugs, you know, the kind that only fit one way, the second way that you try them. So I was thinking, they should change it so the plugs look like little penises and the receptacles look like little vaginas. This would have a lot of advantages, you know. Our right-wing friends would stop using computers because that would be against their ethics, you know, to do that. It's dirty, it's porn. It goes in whichever way you want and it works. And even if you plug it in the wrong receptacle, it's still kind of okay. I'll close on that image. Thank you very much.